Let me start to tell you a story. Bernard was going to die. He didn't know it when he woke up that morning. He didn't know days or years or months or however long he had been going through his life. He didn't know that he was going to die. Well, of course he knew he was going to die one day, but he didn't know he was going to die that day. He was in fairly good health, and as he woke up that morning, he got ready as he normally did, showering, getting dressed, eating a nice breakfast, things like that. He lived alone, so he didn't have anyone to say goodbye to, but he got in his humble four-door car, and he drove to his office. He had a desk job at a cubicle, in a series of cubicles for a company that did advertising or some such thing. Behind his desk was a window, and that was nice. That was something that not a lot of people had. His desk was fairly clear. There were a couple pictures of places he had visited, some pictures from his sister and her family, nice things like that. Nothing really to institute his own life. And as he sat there that day typing at his computer, there was a knocking sound. Now, he had gotten very used to the rhythm of his office, seeing as it was a place he spent a lot of time at every day. So, when he heard this knocking sound, it disturbed him a little bit. It wasn't what he would be used to hearing every day at his office. And so, he listened. He imagined for a moment that it was perhaps a bird tapping on the window behind him. But the knocking got louder and louder, and he imagined this bird ramming its head into the window behind him, and he was worried for the bird, fearing that the bird might get a concussion and fall to its inevitable death. But, of course, there was no bird. As he turned around, he did not see a bird ramming its head into the glass behind him, but he instead saw a woman who had a harness and was hanging by the window, tapping. He looked at the window, confused. There wasn't normally a woman behind there. They were several stories up. It didn't make a lot of sense for there to be a woman hanging there. She had a strange device attached to the window that seemed to be cutting a certain hole in it. Now, she came through the window and looked at him. "Hello," she said. "How would you like to go on an adventure?" He looked back at her, not really sure what to think. Me? Yes, you. Well, I've got, this work here on my computer. Leave it." Her suggestion frightened him. He did the same thing every day. He got up, he got dressed, he took a shower. Well, not in that order. He took a shower and then he got dressed, he ate his breakfast, he went to work, he typed at a computer, he came home. And he would repeat every day. He wasn't used to someone coming through the window behind him. He didn't know what to do about it. He supposed he could report it, but he didn't really know who to report that sort of thing to. There wasn't a people coming through windows department after all. She came up to him and took his hand and pulled him out of his chair. What are you doing?" he asked. He looked around frantic, trying to make sure that his coworkers weren't distracted by him. But they all seemed very content in their own little office spaces. And she dragged him along down the row of cubicles, down the long hallway to the elevator. The whole way he stammered and mumbled and wished that he knew what to do. And as she went into the elevator, she pressed a button. It was a blank button, not labeled with any numbers or anything like that. And when it opened, when the door opened again after they went in the elevator, he found himself in a strange space. Looking across from him, he saw windows. Outside of these windows were clouds. This was not the sort of thing that he was used to seeing outside windows, at least not so linear with him. He went to the window and looked down. The city was below him. He was not at the top of a building, like one would expect an elevator to take him, but instead was flying very high above it. What's going on here? He stammered. He had no idea what to think of any of this. We're on an adventure, the woman shrugged. Why? What? How? What? Oh, come on. Any attitude like that and you'll find yourself dead by Monday, she said. She was joking, of course. Of course, by Monday, he was, well, dead.